What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you back to more Let's Play Pokemon Black and White 2. In the last episode, we began our Pokemon League Challenge, taking down Marshall, Caitlin, and Grimsley of the Elite Four. All that remains is the final member, so let's head on inside the leftmost room and wait for the stairs to materialize, and up we go. I really like the design of the Elite Four rooms in both games, honestly. They're cool no matter what. Well, hello there! I think Chantal's might be the most interesting, though. It's so neat. What a great effect. There is one man who wanders the world with a white dragon Pokemon to search for truth. That's part of a novel I'm writing. I want to write down the event that happened on that day. Sorry, it has nothing to do with you. You're a challenger, right? I'm the Elite Four's Ghost-type Pokemon user, Chantal, and I shall be your opponent. And now it is time to take on the last member of the Elite Four, who is generally, in most cases, the first member of the Elite Four, but we decided to do things backwards this time. I mean, I guess there is no technically backwards, and you can fight them in any order you want, but whatever. She's going to start off with Kaffa here, the Ghost-type Pokemon with the ability Mummy, which passes on its ability to whoever hits it, and otherwise that ability essentially does nothing. It has Psychic, Shadow Ball, Will-O-Wisp, and Grass Knot, and I am actually going to be leaving with Farina here, or leading, excuse me, as I try to lower this thing's defenses a little bit. Now, Mummy is going to take effect, but that's okay. It's not like it has any ground-type moves anyway. It's going to use Will-O-Wisp here, but I am going to fight against that as much as I possibly can, because like I said, there's not really much that this Kaffa can do against my my Flygon, so I should be fine. All right. But I'm going to be kind of like sharing the load as I go through this fight a little bit. Now, Shadow Ball is going to hurt no matter what, just because it is a stab move. But if we can continue doing damage with Crunch, maybe we can knock this thing all the way down on its butt. It did use Will-O-Wisp again, but I am sure that Chantal is about to use a full restore here. So I'm actually going to meet her on that and use one of my many full restores here. So let's do that. And yeah, this is pretty much the only part of the fight where Farina was going to have a chance to even shine anyway. So I wanted to get this out of the way. But don't you worry, there is a very good reason why Farina is in my party. For anybody who is still questioning this and wondering why I didn't just bring my Braviary, I promise you I had my reasons. Okay, Crunch again. Maybe we can lower this thing's defenses again. Yep, there we go. Watch it use Will-O-Wisp again. It didn't. It used Shadow Ball. Okay, I'm actually okay with that. So our next Crunch should be enough to knock this thing out. And then we can do some swapping. Like I said, I'm going to kind of go... I'm going to probably actually have a different Pokemon take out each and every single one. And I don't want to entirely rely on Zoroark this time because I feel like that's just overpowered. However, speaking of Zoroark, I will use him on this Pokemon right here, which is Golurk. This has the ability Iron Fist, which powers up its punching moves, although that only affects its ability, or its move Shadow Punch. It also has Earthquake, Heavy Slam, and Brick Break. And actually, yeah, it does have a super effective move in this situation. Oops, we'll be fine. Let's use Dark Pulse. Hopefully this is enough to just knock it out outright. I don't know, we will see, but it should be. And no! But it used Earthquake, so I should be all right here, even with stab damage. Indeed, and I think she's probably going to use another thing here. No, she didn't. Oh, I should have expected it. Gosh dang it. Shadow Punch. Is that going to be enough? Yep, it is. I should have known. I was totally expecting a full restore there, and I was going to try to preempt that. Oh, well, that's fine. Let's go to Kamina for this one. Kamina is going to be outspeeding absolutely everything. I don't even care about weaknesses. Let's just hit it with a Shadow Ball super fast and knock it out. And Kamina is actually going to be good for another Pokemon. I was hoping to just knock out the Golurk with Zoroark, but that did not work out in my favor after all. It's okay, though. Zoroark shined way too much in the Caitlin fight, so needed to be knocked down a peg. All right, we're on to Chandelure with its Ghost and Fire type with its ability Flame Body. It's holding a Citrus Berry. It does actually have a contingency plan for what I'm throwing out right now, and that is... Oh, man, I really should have healed Tomoe. It's got Fire Blast, Energy Ball, Shadow Ball, and Psychic. I am going to try a Hydro Cannon, but this Energy Ball honestly might knock me out because Chandelure's special attack is so insane that, yeah, that's going to suck. Okay, we're fine, though, because I have as my backup Farina here, who might be able to handle a hit. We will see. I'm going to try a Rock Slide. Yeah, we're faster. Okay, that's good. That's a good start. We also could cause a flinch here. Nope, Shadow Ball. Okay, this is going to hurt, and it's going to hurt a lot. Oh, that is what I like to see, Farina. Good job. Super good job. And then the Citrus Berry should push it past healing health. Thank you. All right, well, if we need to win with speed, then I know what I'm going to do here. I was really hoping Tomoe was going to knock this Chandelure out, but that energy ball hurt way too much. Okay, I have actually a few options here, although Jack would not be the smartest idea. Let's go with Kamina. Let's go with Kamina. Let's just knock this thing out. So I am going to not take any risk here. I'm just going to Shadow Ball this thing. And down goes the Chandelure. So there is Chantal's strongest Pokemon and my beloved from the first playthrough. Now we move on to Drifblim, which I used in my Pokemon Platinum playthrough. Ghost and Flying type with the ability Aftermath. It has Acrobatics, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, and Psychic. Not really much that's going to do a lot against Kamina here, so let's try to hit it with a Thunder and just see this fight to its conclusion. Hopefully this one-shots it, but I imagine it will. And indeed, it did. Critical hit and all. Wow, that was just a little bit excessive, but I will take it. You ever feel a loss for words when something greatly moves you? To tell the truth, I'm a writer, but right now I'm having trouble putting my feelings into words. You were just that impressive. Challenger, if you defeat the entire Elite Four of the Pokemon League, you can go on to challenge the champion, and you have earned that right. Return to the plaza in the center and check the statue. Okay. Let's head on over. Now, before we step on this statue, it would only make a lot of sense for me to entirely heal my team up, so I'm going to do that real quick. Okay. It's time. Before we start this fight, I happen to have, if you remember correctly, still sitting in my bag, I still have a number of rare candies. And I'm actually really terrified of messing this up and making the wrong decision here, but I'm just going to go for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use 2 of my rare candies on Jack. I think that should be enough. And then I'm going to use 1 more on, and I want to make sure I don't end up using this on a Pokemon that's just about to level up anyway. So let me quickly go over where everybody is at experience-wise. Okay, I definitely probably should just use it on Johanna then, but my problem is that of all my Pokemon, Johanna is probably going to have the least amount to do in this fight. I don't know. We will see. Maybe. But probably. Well, actually, there is one thing that he will be very useful for, so I don't know. We will see. I think I'll just use it on Tomoe, just to be extra sure. Tomoe wants to learn Swords Dance. Okay, that's cool. That's not going to do me any good with her current moveset, but there is my last rare candy. And what I'm going to do is I am going to switch Jack, now at the highest level on the team, to the front of the party. I really hope this works. Let's step onto the statue and head down. Now, it's time we ask ourselves a question, because we know that Alder was the champion in the first game, but we are also very much aware of the fact that Alder is no longer the champion at all. He's gone. And, well, that leaves an open question that we really haven't considered up to this point, because it's not really been at the top of our priority list. Who is the champion now? I mean, it's pretty obvious when you really think about who's been kind of missing this entire time, but, like, what happened? What's going on? Why did Alder retire? Well, it's to make way for some young blood. Let's just say that. Welcome, Challenger. I've been waiting for this. Know what? I really look forward to having serious battles with strong trainers. I mean, come on! The trainers who make it here are trainers who desire victory with every fiber of their being. And they are battling alongside Pokemon that have been through countless difficult battles. If I battle with people like that, not only will I get stronger, my Pokemon will too. And we'll get to know each other even better. Okay, brace yourself. I'm Iris, the Pokemon League champion, and I'm going to defeat you. That's right, everybody! Iris, the former gym leader of Opelucid City, is in fact the champion of Pokemon Black and White 2, and she is, well, just like she was in the last game, a Dragon-type specialist, and gosh, I love her intensity. She is so great. She is going to be leading off, that's right, leading off with one of the strongest Pokemon in the history of the game, Hydreigon, the Dark and Dragon-type Pokemon, and this is why I am leading with Jack, because I really gotta hope that this lands. Nope! Oh, he's faster. That is exactly what I was afraid of. This was the chance that I was taking going into this fight, but Jack takes it! Holy crap! All right, now we just gotta hope that close combat is enough to knock this thing out, and it is! Oh, okay. Hydreigon, it's a Dark and Dragon-type Pokemon with the ability Levitate. It has Dragon Pulse, Surf, Flamethrower, and Charge Beam. I didn't really have any good options to deal with this thing besides that right there, and it worked out. On to the next Pokemon, which is going to be Druddigon. Now, this one is also going to be a little bit of a challenge, but one that I am willing to throw Tomoe out against in this case. Pure Dragon-type Pokemon, it has the ability Sheer Force, which removes all additional abilities from things like Rock Slide and Dragon Tail and things like that, but then converts it to more damage. It also is holding a Life Orb, which will reduce its HP every time it hits, but at the expense of dealing out a lot more damage. Now, this is what I'm willing to use Ice Beam on. It doesn't have anything super effective on Tomoe, but it is still going to hurt a fair bit. Now, luckily, Focus Blast is a special attack, and Druddigon is much more of a physical attacker, so that is probably the worst move it could have used outside of Flamethrower in this case. So I'm going to use an Ice Beam again and hopefully just knock this thing out straight away. That is supposed to technically be her second best Pokemon, but we've dealt with it no problem. On to the next one, though. I mean, I would say Hydreigon, it's her second best, but whatever. On to Lapras, the Water and Ice-type Pokemon. That's right, she doesn't only use Dragon-type Pokemon. This has the ability Water Absorb. It's got Surf, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Sing. Who else to use against a Pokemon like this but my Electric type, of course. Let's bring it out. Come on, Kamina. Hit it with a Thunder if you can. And you did. Man, Thunder has been so reliable for me ever since I learned it, and I have been grateful to have it the entire way. But Lapras tanks through it. Holy crap. With the paralysis. Now, this Ice Beam is going to hurt a lot, but I think Kamina can handle it. Just barely. Oh, that was a crit. No wonder. That's why that did so much damage. Kamina does have really good special defenses, so should have normally been able to handle that no problem. But now we should be able to get away with 2 Thunderbolts, which are much more reliable than Thunder, and knock this thing out no problem. It ain't surviving 2 of these. Plus, we've already got that speed advantage. So down it goes. And there's one other Pokemon I actually would like to use Kamina for, but I don't know if we're going to be going up against that one next, because I get the feeling she is about to throw out her strongest Pokemon here. No, not her strongest yet. Okay, but another Pokemon that has something that my electric type Kamina is weak against. So for this one, I'm actually going to switch on over to Farina. This is one of the main reasons I actually wanted to bring Farina along. I guess I could have technically also used Jack in this situation and used Aura Sphere, but Kamina's going to work good too. Aggron, Steel Rock, ability, Rock Head, has Double Edge, Rock Slide, Automatize, and Earthquake. If it gets that Automatize off, it could get a little bit dicey, but a single Earth Power is really strong against this thing. It has a quad weakness to ground after all, and it is also not the best against special attacks, so down it goes. Okay, that leaves 2 Pokemon left. And again, I'm very scared as to it might use its strongest Pokemon here. We'll find out. Archeops. No, not yet. Okay, I'm going to switch back to Kamina for this one, and I'm going to take a risk. So this is a Rock and Flying type Pokemon with the ability Defeatist. It is extremely strong as long as it has its health above half, but as soon as they go down to half, its special or attack and special attack stats will be cut in half. So all we got to do is bring it down below that point. I could go all in on a Thunder, but I'm going to try Thunderbolt and see if that's enough just to take this thing out. If it's not, well, we might be in a little bit of a dicey situation, but I think it will. Yeah, there we go. Has Acrobatics, Rock Slide, Dragon Claw, and Endeavor. That Acrobatics is really strong because it's not holding a held item. But that only leaves 1 Pokemon left, and that is Haxorus. And I could go with the sacrifices, but I could also go all in. There's a few different ways of going about this. I'm going to let Johanna start this fight, okay? Now, this Haxorus can cause me some problems. It's got Dual Chop, Earthquake, X-Scissor, and Dragon Dance. Now, that Dragon Dance could start causing problems really quickly here. It also has, obviously, the ability Mold Breaker, and it's got a Focus Sash, but I am not interested in one-shotting this thing under any circumstances. In fact, I'm just going to use Psychic here, because this thing is all going to be about attack and nothing else. But if I can knock its health down a little bit, we could be in a good situation here. In fact, 1 more of those Psychics honestly might be enough to knock this thing out, assuming that she doesn't heal here. And she didn't, but it's going to use Earthquake, but that is an increased power Earthquake. We will see if Johanna can tank it. Oh my gosh, yes! And Volcarona comes to, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. At the very freaking end, he clutches it out after all this time. And here I thought that for the longest time that Volcarona was going to fall just short. I was so worried about it. And there it is. Man, everyone got to shine in that fight. I love it. I'm upset I couldn't win, but you know what? More than that, I'm happy. I mean, come on. By having a serious battle, you and your Pokemon and me and my Pokemon, we all got to know one another better than before. Yep, we sure did. Okay, let's go. Oh, Iris, you're so awesome. What a great champion, by the way. One of my favorites. Alder's a great one, too, but I love Iris. Like, just this little badass girl absolutely whooping you with a bunch of terrifying Dragon-type Pokemon. Okay, go on ahead. Hurry. I love that she pushes us on our way. Oh, she's so great. Such a go-getter. Seriously, one of the most interesting champions to me. So this room is the Hall of Fame. Your name and your Pokemon's names will be recorded here, so these important things will never be forgotten. That you are an excellent and kind trainer, that you are considerate toward your Pokemon and you give them your whole heart, and that your wonderful Pokemon believe in their trainer with all their hearts, and together you have a strength that knows no bounds. Hey, come on. Oh, excuse me. May. To the trainer standing before me and to the Pokemon at your side, your beautiful bond has grown strong through battle. In order to make this bond an eternal treasure, your name shall be recorded here. And ladies and gentlemen, thus concludes another grand Pokemon adventure. One of my favorites in the entire series, if I'm being completely honest, and especially after having finished this Let's Play, I think it's higher on the list than ever. I had a wonderful time playing through this game, especially with the team that we had. I really enjoyed the act of actually juggling a 7th party member around, although I am a little bummed that Challenger couldn't be included in all of it, especially given that Challenger was one of my very earliest picks for this team when planning this Let's Play, but Zoroark really kind of made this entire thing work just because of its heightened experience gains. Although it did, gain effort values at a lower rate than everybody else, it still was able to keep up so effortlessly that doing all this switching didn't really cause me any problems whatsoever, and I had a lot of fun with that. But yeah, a little bummed that Challenger wasn't part of it. However, Challenger is going to have plenty more moments to shine in the future because this Let's Play is nowhere close to done. Now, before we talk about all of that, really quickly want to point this out. In Pokemon White 2, after having finished the game, you will receive the Easy Key, which allows you to play Easy Mode. The way that Game Freak handled this is peak Game Freak, and one of the stupidest things they did this entire generation, but in Pokemon White 2, Easy Mode is locked behind beating the game. In Pokemon Black 2, Hard Mode is locked behind beating the game. If you want to access hard mode in White 2 or vice versa, you need to share with friends who have the opposite copy as yours to get those keys. It's really stupid. It should only be hard mode that's locked behind finishing the game, but whatever. I never understood why they do this. Like, having easy mode, I mean, I don't know. It kind of defeats the purpose of beating the game in the first place. If you can beat it on normal, you don't need easy mode. It's also already super easy to begin with, so it just seems pointless. Hard mode, pretty much, I mean, I would say it does make the game a little bit harder, but not by much. Mainly because, while yes, it does increase the levels of the Pokemon that you're going to be fighting, this in turn also increases the amount of experience you're going to be getting for your Pokemon team members as you go, thus kind of rendering the entire thing moot. Now, granted, there are some other quirks, like the AI does have a better selection of moves to choose from, and they're generally smarter, and some of the Pokemon they have higher effort values and individual values and things like that. But otherwise, it does, in a roundabout way, almost make the game easier than normal mode. The reason I didn't play on hard mode, though, to begin with, was because I wanted to continue with White 2, because I played Pokemon White the first time around, and also just because this is true to which games I played the first time around when I was introduced to Generation 5. That's really all there is to it. I know a lot of people say, why don't people do more Let's Plays of the challenge mode? It's because it's honestly not that inspiring. It's not really that much of a thrill compared to the normal experience. Not to say that this game isn't a thrill, because, man, like I said, I really had a great time playing through this again. This is a phenomenal game in just about every single way. It only really has one big glaring issue for me. And that, of course, I feel like everybody says this, but the biggest glaring issue is the way that this wraps up the story. It really just kind of forgets about a lot of the great plot threads that were brought up in Pokemon Black and White 1. This generation definitely had the potential for far and away the strongest story in the entire series, and it isn't particularly close. Black and White 1 definitely holds that title on its own, and it's why I still consider it to be the overall better game, just because it is a more rounded, complete experience, while Black and White 2 kind of goes back to the more traditional Pokemon formula of being a good JRPG, but with the most juvenile story and plotline you can possibly imagine. Now, I would still say it does it better than most of the rest of the series, but not all of them. And that is kind of a shame, especially given the standard that Black and White 1 set in the first place. Now, that all said, it does, I think, marginally at least improve upon everything else Black and White was doing in some way. I don't 100% know how I feel about, like, the route and all that. Like, I think I still prefer how, Generation 1 Black and White 1 starts, and where you start from there, going from New Vema all the way through up into, Pinwheel Forest and all that before you hit Castelia City. I think I like the layout of Black and White 1 just a bit better than this one. But it's still really strong. It's still very good. And they didn't pull any punches in the changes that they made. And in a lot of ways, this is the complete Generation 5 experience if you never played the first game. You really don't need to play both of them all that much, just because, this game doesn't do a lot that's going to make you question everything that happened in the first game. Like, yeah, there are some lingering plot threads, like with N and whatnot, and also, all of Team Plasma's nonsense. But it's so kind of just hand-waved away that it really doesn't matter. Now, the key reason for this, and it's here in the credits, you'll see that this time around there was only one writer, which was, I think it was Junichi Masuda. And in the first game, there were 3 writers credited. So I think that's the biggest indicator as to what went wrong here and what was changed and what didn't quite land in the same way that we kind of all were hoping it to land, especially because, this is the only time Pokemon really kind of entertained the possibility of a sequel. So when it all happened, I think a lot of people were disappointed in that regard, and I think it left a little bit of a sour taste in people's mouths, and it's why Pokemon Black and White 2 gets some flack from some people, but I've said this many times before, story is the least important element for me in a Pokemon game, period. As long as it's not outright asinine, as it is in some games in the series that I will not mention here, I honestly just kind of don't care about it. Like, it doesn't really need to be there. It doesn't really bother me if it's good or bad. It's just kind of there. I'm there for the Pokemon. I'm there for catching the Pokemon. I'm there for exploring the regions, running around, just enjoying the gameplay loop that is Pokemon. That's really all it is for me and always has been for me. And in that regard, Pokemon Black and White 2 is arguably, if not outright, the best in the entire series at that. And it's only going to compound upon this because we're about to get into the post-game, which I'm really excited for, because I think this actually has the best post-game in the entire series. And yes, I did say that. I'm pretty sure I went on record in the past saying that that title belongs to Emerald. But no, I actually think Black and White 2 does even better. Emerald is close, but it's not quite there. And, well, I think you'll see why, especially with how robust it is and how much we actually have to go over once we get into all of that. But I'm really excited for it. And yeah, we're going to be jumping straight into it this time, which is something I haven't done since Emerald, because, I want to see this entire game through. I want to see all of this stuff through right off the bat. And then, and only then, once all is said and done, we can then head back to Pokemon Platinum and work on that one's post-game, which shouldn't be too terribly long. As for the rest of the Pokemon series, we're getting to move on with these games, especially now that, at the time of recording this, I recorded this entire finale many, many months ago, but this particular section is actually being recorded very close to when this comes out. And I will say that a lot has changed in my plans and whatnot, so as of right now, things are in a little bit of a strange state, but what I had originally had planned changed a bunch, so I needed to re-record this section. And I wanted to tell you guys that once this Let's Play is done, like I said, we're going to be going straight into Pokemon Platinum. But then after that, we are going to be then diving into some spin-off games, at the very least one spin-off game, meaning going back to the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series. There might be one other one before we move on to Pokemon X and Y, so there's going to be a little bit of a delay between Generation 5 and Generation 6, but we'll get around to it. The thing that I do want to say, though, is that Generation 6 onward is going to be a bit of a different vibe because I do not have near the amount of nostalgia for those generations as I do for this one or any generations prior. So it's going to be a little different. I've only played through those games maybe once or twice ever, but it's still going to be, I hope, just as fun, and we'll get to talk about all of the quirks, flaws, pros, and cons of those games all the way through, at least at this exact moment in time, Generation 8. That's where I kind of intend to bring all of these Pokemon mainline games to a close, because after that, I'm not particularly interested, and I'll explain more why when we get around to that point. But for now, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this very, very much. Next episode, like I said, we're just jumping straight into the post game. We got so much to go over, and we'll talk about at least some of that right off the bat. But as you'll see, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And honestly, we might only be like 2/3 of the way done with this Let's Play. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.